Okay, how's everybody? You fired up, right? Thank you, Cindy, for the incredible job you're doing as chair of Harris County Republican Party and for bringing so many Republicans together tonight, honoring the legacies of Presidents Lincoln and Reagan. I'm Texas State Senator Brandon Creighton. What a blessing for all of us to come together in fellowship to pray to the good Lord to bless this food and this event and to pledge allegiance to our nation in the great and sovereign state of Texas. And let's not kid ourselves. We may kick a few liberals around tonight. Are you with me? I thought so. You know, I'm sure you all know this, but do you know the difference between Elvis and a smart liberal? The difference between Elvis and a smart liberal is Elvis has been cited. Come on, I had to do that. I love Elvis. I believe we have some self-described liberals, smart liberals, self-described, that run the Harris County Commissioner's Court these days. But we all know better, don't we? And actually, what I said in that last statement, I said the words, "you all." And that was an incorrect use of the Texas language that I want to apologize for. You know, I want to be correct for our friends here tonight from Florida. The correct way to say y'all, plural, is not you all. The correct way to say y'all, plural, is all y'all. It's important for our out-of-state guests to know this, and that's just Texas hospitality to make that clarification. So our 5-month Texas legislative session has kicked off. We're now in week 9 of 21, but who's counting? In Austin at the state capitol, we'll tackle issues important to Texans, and Texas has jurisdiction over the federal government to address issues related to the protection of life, to the protection of our Second Amendment gun rights, to property tax relief and reform, to redistricting for the rest of this decade, including state and congressional maps, for election integrity, where more people should be allowed to vote, but no one should be allowed to cheat. For securing our Texas power grid for the next 100 years and securing our border with a one-of-its-kind in the nation, Texas-funded and Texas-constructed border wall. And last, but maybe the most important, or at least as important as any of the above, the strongest parental bill of rights and school choice initiatives in the nation. We will pass this legislative session where parents will once again have the educational freedom they deserve on behalf of their kids. I want to thank Lieutenant Governor Patrick for asking me to chair the Education Committee in the Texas Senate. And I want to thank Governor Greg Abbott and his leadership for naming the Parental Bill of Rights and Educational Freedom as an emergency item for this Texas legislative session. You know, I've got considerable windshield time as I drive back and forth to the state capitol these days from Conroe. Last Sunday while driving in, I pulled up a podcast of someone I respect, Jordan Peterson. And Jordan Peterson was interviewing a mentor of his, Dr. Yoram Hazony. And I was very interested, right? I mean, for Jordan Peterson, you know, a conservative thought leader in this country, to have a mentor, I was very interested to hear, well, what does this guy have to say? And Jordan and Dr. Hazony discussed in plain language what we all know to be true when we're being intellectually honest with ourselves. The left is no longer the left. The left is no longer classic liberalism. We used to refer to liberals as liberals, no more. And you know, even in the Democratic Party back in the day, JFK, who would have thought Clinton lost his mind, and it was Clinton who helped pass the Defense of Marriage Act and welfare reform before he train wrecked his administration. But Clinton would have thought that Obama had lost his mind. And Obama and Speaker Pelosi, bless her heart, definitely have lost their minds. And they have no idea what to think about AOC and the squad and those leading the Democratic Party in 2023. But I can tell you what everyone in this room realizes is that they are all out of touch with American values, and we all know it, and we're going to call them out on it. Jordan Peterson describes them as Marxists disguising themselves as woke morality. In other words, Marxists at heart and liberals by trade. And I believe he's right. After last month's underwhelming State of the Union address, Arkansas Governor Sarah Huckabee Sanders framed it as the dividing line in this nation is no longer between left and right. It's between normal and crazy. But actually, it's more sinister than crazy. It's by design. And Jordan Peterson's description of Marxism veiled as woke morality is where we find those that are truly doing their best to destroy this nation from within, which is exactly what our founders described as the only manner in which America could be destroyed. Marxists cannot have hierarchies. They cannot have institutions or free market economies. And I tell you what, listen to me on this. Marxists cannot also have Texans that value faith, that value family, that value country, that value personal responsibility, that value the protection of individual freedoms and liberties, and that value a limited government. The goal of the woke Marxists is for every 18-year-old in America to reject faith and family and just to do what feels right at any given time, including rejecting right from wrong. The Marxist woke mob to create a world where we're divided, where they create doubt among us, where they tear down and cancel and promote less free speech and less free exchange of ideas, right? An attack on the First Amendment. All of this disruption, including open borders, is so that the government will ultimately appear to be the only solution. With all that we're seeing from this movement launched against our state and our nation, the true battleground is not in the streets. And hear me on this. The true battleground is not with our police forces. It's not with the job creators. It's not with the economic engine of free enterprise and free markets. It's not with the business owners. The battleground for the future of Texas and this nation is in education and in the classroom. The question is, Who will we allow to influence our kids? And what will they be taught? Are we going to allow cancellation of right from wrong? Are we going to allow cancellation of our values and our faith and cancellation of our history? Absolutely not. I got an amen from the back. I just heard that. Thank you. Appreciate you, brother. In Texas, we will stand against the death of common sense. In Texas, we will stand against woke ESG social justice, polluting the private sector and our companies. We will stand against diversity, equity, and inclusion departments in our universities, dividing our campuses. We will stand against the teaching of critical race theory by woke, tenured professors. And one thing we're certain we will stand firm on is that we will make it clear as we say no to all of that garbage this Texas legislative session. We will make clear that Texas parents have the rights they deserve in the public school classroom and with alternative education opportunities and with tax dollars that belong to families, not the government. Our families have rights and a duty to make decisions for their kids with their own money. 30 other states have already passed school choice. Texas should be leading, not following. We have a friend of Texas here tonight from Florida who has fought this battle and won. And yes, Texas and Florida has a friendly competition, but really, folks, Texas and Florida, we're not in competition as much as we are in a partnership as our founders intended for the states to be incubators of success and experiment to build this nation, to bolster this nation, and in this situation, to save this nation. What Texas and Florida decide on educational freedom and reform and parental empowerment won't just produce smarter kids and define their future, but by taking back our classrooms, by giving education options, taking back our budgets, and the results, the Texas and the Florida model will lead the nation into a renewal away from the woke mobs and towards the America we all know and cherish and love. And so we will defend our American way of life, an America that values hard work, personal freedom, and the American dream, and an America that salutes the flag and honors our men and women in uniform. And we have just such an individual that's worn the uniform coming up next. An America that does not and will never apologize for American exceptionalism, ever. I know Governor DeSantis also believes in this America. The governor was kind enough to welcome me recently to the Florida Capitol with his senior executive education team to talk about these reforms and how Texas and Florida could partner together. And I'm thankful for that. When the governor's classmates at Yale and Harvard were looking at Wall Street, Ron DeSantis joined the Navy to serve his country and deployed to Iraq as an advisor to a Navy SEAL commander and earned a Bronze Star Medal and the Iraq Campaign Medal for his service. As a federal prosecutor, Governor DeSantis took on the IRS, and as a congressman, he did the same and advocated for term limits and a balanced budget amendment to the United States Constitution, which we could only pray for now as we move forward in Reagan's legacy, who made the same attempt while he was in office. The governor's a strong governor who understands what needs to be done for his state. He takes on challenges that weaker politicians shy away from, and probably has some Texan in him because he isn't afraid to say it like it is, right? His wife, Casey, is an Emmy Award-winning television host and a rock star mom. And ladies and gentlemen, from the great state of Florida, let's give Governor Ron DeSantis the best Texas welcome you can offer.